friends. There's no fancy music because I did most of this presentation on my phone or at work. Because I'm a goblin and I'm usually on small internet. Yay, now we're recording. Thanks, VZ. It's funny because your thing looks like Arrow, but I know what color Arrow's name is and it's blue. All right. Got a few more minutes before it starts. Yay, you can see the screen. I might have to change how the screen is shared, actually. Let me fix that real quick, because it's going to try to go to an internet thing later. So I want to make sure it's sharing the screen itself and not just the presentation. I heard my house tell me that there was a motion detected. And I thought, it's weird, the motion detector's up on the wall. No, it looks like it fell down on the ground again, and so Sally set it off when she jumped down off my lap. Okay, I'll change my name in a minute. Unless you can change it, VZ. I don't want to mess up the big internet. That's funny because in our server I set it up so that I could change them. It's okay, I can change it. Apers. Save. I was able to do it from clicking on his profile in a chat once. Because I changed Rodney's to say Rodney press A in the video game chat that we have. I wonder if that's something that Sarah could do, but not you. We'll give it a couple more minutes. There might be another cat joining. If another cat joins, I can turn on my camera and show you a cat, but the cat left. Hey, Mo. This room is so hot. I'm even still in my work clothes. About the date change, everybody. I was overwhelmed by things I said I would do. But we'll get started soon. Rodney's here. Hi, Rodney. Welcome to my kitchen. We've got bananas and avocados. I miss mine. All right. Hello, definitely a rodeo and not hawk. You can't trick me. This will be funny on the recording later. It was going to be on Friday, Doug, but then I had a bunch of stuff I had to do on Friday, and it was just going to be impossible to try and do all of it in the equivalent of like 4 or 5 hours, so I had to move it. Gemma and I are going to run errands before our Eurovision party on Saturday, and then Rodney said he would buy us dinner. Well, Rodney said we would go out to dinner together, all three of us. Good news, Hawk, this is not very in-depth library stuff so much as like a brief overview to kind of keep it more universal and less specific, but we will look at 2 different library catalogs. Hi, Rodney. We're going to look at the Forsyth County catalog, and I'm going to talk shit about the Forsyth County website because it sucks ass. All right, let's see what time it is. Close enough. I don't have a good sense of time. Hello and welcome. Welcome to How to Find a Book in the Library and Other Library Tangents. I am Apers, and I'm a librarian in real life. So we're gonna look at a couple of things. The tangents are because I'm a librarian and I have opinions about libraries, as you might imagine. Doug, that information wasn't for you, it was for people who might not know me. So the presentation is, how do I find a book in a library? That's pretty easy. You ask a librarian. The end. Thanks for coming to my chat. I'm just kidding. Sometimes we're busy. I wouldn't do that to you guys. You should ask a librarian, though. That's the truth. So, how to actually find a librarian or a book in the library. So there's a couple of methods based on what you actually want to do. So if you want a specific book, or if you want any book, or if you want a recommendation, obviously all of them you can ask a librarian. We know a lot of shit. So, but we'll go through each of these different things and we'll look at a couple of different library catalogs. I have worked at 5 different libraries, but 3 of them used the same catalog system. So yeah. So tangent number 1 is most library employees aren't actually librarians. And so it doesn't really matter to the patrons, that division, because it's more about like what your responsibilities are behind the scenes rather than front of the scenes. If somebody is sitting at the reference desk, they could be a librarian, they could be a library assistant, they could be a page. It doesn't really matter in the moment, like what their actual job is. If they hit a wall of what they are able to do based on whether they're a librarian or not, then they might go and get a librarian or a manager or somebody. But for the most part, most of the people that you see in the library are not actually librarians. I work in a department that has 10 or 11 people in it. I think it's 11, and only 3 of them are actually librarians. Sally Cat is back. Say hi, Sally Cat. She's not going to do it. Okay, so that was tangent number 1. So if you want a specific book, ask a librarian. I can just tell you where a lot. Oh, you heard the Sally Cat. She's very loud. If you ask me where the green book with the 3 yellow bears on it is, that's 10 apples up on top. So I know exactly where that is. It's in primary readers. Librarians have been asked about books a lot, and we look at them a lot. So for the most part, we might know exactly where it is. We might have to look it up. So you know that it's actually library staff, though, not librarians. I'm going to keep saying librarian, though, because it's funny. So you can check the catalog if you aren't going to ask a librarian. There should be a public access catalog, a pack, or you can visit the OPAC, the online pack. Your library might have an app. So we'll look at 2 different types of OPACs, which is for one system that is part of a consortium and one system that is not a part of a consortium. And those are the 2 libraries that I've worked at the longest. One of them I worked at for 5 years, and that's where Rodney works now. And then another one I have been working at for 2 years. That's not part of a consortium. Yep, don't worry, Mo. That's the next slide. Tangent number 2, kinds of libraries. Libraries can be public or private, central or community, system or single, consortium or independent. So public or private, that one's pretty obvious. That's where the funding comes from. Central versus community is going to be more about its position within the system itself. So at the system I used to work in, it's a 10 branch system that had 1 central library. Usually central library is going to be in the city. And then system versus single. So I currently work in a single location. And I have previously worked in a closed system and an open system, which is then the difference between a consortium or independent. Consortium is something that is usually going to be a group of libraries. For where I live, the consortium is statewide. Other places might have regional consortiums, so you might be borrowing a book from a library, but it came from a few towns over. And that just kind of opens up the opportunities. It means that libraries don't have to spend as much money on buying books and maintaining the collection because they're part of a big, big system. So if you think about maybe you want to have a lot of copies of Percy Jackson because the Percy Jackson books are really popular. If I want to get Percy Jackson, no, interlibrary loans are actually not connected to consortiums. We'll talk about ILLs later, though. If you want to get a Percy Jackson book, at my library, you have to get it from our library. I can't get it from another library. Other places you can place it on hold and it'll come a little faster because it is not dependent on that library system's number of copies. So I currently work in a public library that is a single independent location. If there were other branches, then it would be the central branch because we are in the city. But we are a single location, so there are not branches. Yeah, Ohio Link is probably a consortium. Ours is called NC Cardinal, because Cardinal is our state bird. So how to look up a book. You probably got like a little packet when you got your library card, but that might have been a while ago. If you're not sure about the status of your library card, you are going to have to probably go and talk to somebody at the desk. But the library's website should be on the card. Um, and then it should be pretty easy to find the OPAC on the library website, but sometimes it's not. So the system that I used to work in recently updated their website. So you think you would be able to type in the book here and it would bring you to the catalog. That's not true. This isn't the OPAC for some reason, and this pisses me off every time I think about it. You have to actually scroll down and click on where it says catalog, and that's the OPAC. So this is a mini tangent brought to you by me and how much I hate the redesign of the website. But first we're going to look at an OPAC and a consortium. So this is the NC Cardinal Consortium. This is actually my branch's location, but you can go to nccardinal.org and it should bring you to the consortium page just the same. As you can see, we have sort of a very basic view here because there's a lot of books that are available. You just holler into the void. That's funny, Doug. So we can choose our search format, has a bunch of different options, search type. Most importantly, what will tell you if you're part of a consortium or part of a single system is, oh, I have so many opinions about library websites, and it's because I am not just a librarian, I also have an IT associates in web development. So I have a lot of opinions. But so here we can choose. So the way that this is bolded and slightly larger means that that is the system that you're looking at, and these are the different branches within the system. So then Franklin County is a different system. So you can search for any of these, but if we scroll all the way back up to the top, we can search the main consortium, which is NC Cardinal. So that is a pretty good indicator of whether you're in a consortium or not. If you just click on the catalog, is do you have a bunch of options or do you have a limited number of options? You'll see that when we go to the Cloyd, it's because I read void and was trying to say close at the same time. When we look at the closed system catalog, we will not have any options of where to search because that's not an option there. So we're going to search for Percy Jackson and just see what comes up. Just because I'm a children's librarian and I know that Percy Jackson has been pretty popular. One thing that I will say as a tip on searching for items in a catalog is if you remove the leading, like sort of the A and, it does sometimes help with the search. And some catalogs are not going to do subject searches very well. So this catalog, because it has so many different systems in it, and it is up to the librarians who added the books to add, or sorry, not the books, who added the records to have the subjects in there correctly. That means that the subject entries could actually be in there, they could actually be correct, or it could be a hot mess. It depends on how strict they were when they transferred to the new system and that kind of thing. So a lot of systems you can think about, we used to have sort of a paper and pen system, and then it had to get digitized, and then it usually got digitized again. Rodney, I also know that with the Forsyth County one, the IT department tried to send them a preview and a bunch of shit was broken, but they didn't check any of it and just sent it back and said, looks good. You can do Booleans. It depends on, again, how the information is actually in the system. So you want to be kind of careful with that. If you aren't getting like any results or any of the results you're looking for, it's best to ask a librarian because they're going to know sort of the specific way that their catalog does or doesn't do anything. So I happen to know that this catalog is real shit at subject searches. So you don't even want to bother. So the other thing that tends to happen in a catalog is that, so here we have a video, Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters, which is the second one for some reason. But we also have online content that is intermingled. I really hate that this is a thing that happens. I think they should be separate or a little bit more apparent when it is. So this one is a little bit more obvious, but when we look at the other one, Doug, I work with kids. All dumb bits are questions. But when we look at the other one, you'll see that the digital items at the catalog for the system I work in now, it is the digital items and the physical items look the same, which can be very frustrating for patrons if they don't know how to filter their search correctly. So then this is where you can see that we have some duplicates. A lot of times that duplicate will mean something. It means here that they are in different records for some reason. That'll happen, especially if you're in a consortium. Um, I understand that they want you to know that the online collection is available as a way to sort of promote the online collection. That's why these are integrated. I think it doesn't really work. Yeah, it's just this is the NC Cardinal logo. So one way that we can make sure we are find the first Percy Jackson book is if we choose from all formats, we choose all books instead, and then we want to do title search, and then we see what comes up. So that'll get rid of this DVD. It should keep, no, good. It does get rid of some of the other multimedia ones. God, I remember how much I hate this catalog. This is book one. I don't know why it's up higher, but it is what it is. So you can see Percy Jackson, pretty popular. Checked out, checked out, checked out, checked out, available. But if we open up the search, this is where we're going to have a lot more results because it's part of the NC Cardinal system. Now, if you're part of a consortium, you can usually borrow items from any library within the consortium using your normal library card because they do all use the same computer system. However, it's going to generally follow the rules for the library that you're actually standing in, not the library that your card belongs to. So if I was to go to a nearby town called Madison and I borrowed one of their books, it's going to follow the Madison library rules. They have late fees on their books. Forsyth County doesn't. So if I use my Forsyth County in the Madison library, if I turn in my book late, it's going to have late fees applied to it. Now, if I get Forsyth County to renew my library card, then it takes those rules, and it's a very complicated system that I just know too much about. But here you can kind of see, now we've got Ronaldo, we've got Bath, we've got Coates, we've got Columbus. These are all different systems, and they're all available because that's not actually the first Percy Jackson book. But it'll tell you here we've got 54 of 69 copies. Nice. 3 of 4 copies are available in Forsyth County. If we look at the actual catalog entry, there are going to be a couple of things that we can see that's a little bit more interesting. It says that there's 0 current holds with 69 total copies. If there is a number that is on your catalog that says how many holds there are, I would just ignore it. There's an algorithm based on how it fills the holds. Yeah, NC Cardinal search function sucks ass. I've never liked it. It's terrible. It's because this is an open source system that they customized to use for the consortium, and they did a bad job. Anyways, this is new since I worked there. Looks like they got that update. That's nice. They've added some information. All of this information has to be populated by them correctly identifying the book in the catalog. So sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. Ooh, a digital book plate. That's new. I want to see how that looks in the staff side. So that's kind of how you find a book in the catalog. You can kind of search. Does anybody have any questions before I leave this catalog? We're gonna go and look at another one. I hear Sally coming back. Here she comes. Hi, baby cat. Hello. I'm wearing Captain Marvel socks. Oh, she's on the floor right now. Hawk, if she jumps up here, I'll turn my camera on and I'll show you guys Sally cat. But I try not to scoop her because it stresses her out. It's not because Arrow is blue and Hawk is purple. All right. So since nobody has questions about this specific one, we'll go back to our presentation because we have another catalog to look at. So now we're going to look at the OPAC for the system that I currently work in. So this is an individual system. It uses a different system called LS2. For various reasons, I actually hate LS2 more than I ever hated NC Cardinal, which I did not think would be possible. I thought that Evergreen was peak awful. I was wrong. Hi, baby cat. Come here. Scooped ya. Whoop. She comes. Whip. Hi, Sally. Hi, Sally cat. Hey, baby. She wants forehead kisses, which is why she bumps. Hi. Are you done? Hi. Thank you for your service. She's gonna leave through the hallway. No, she's gonna hang out in this room for a little bit. So, anyways, I think it was in part of it. If you have the screen full screen, I don't think it showed up. So, anyways,
back to this. So these tiles here are selected by librarians. There is someone in admin does this. There was not apers vid the whole time. I just turned it on for Sally Cat. If Cleveland comes and joins us because he hears me talking, I'll turn the camera on again. But I think he must be sleeping because he hasn't come in here. So this is a good way to get recommendations, which we'll talk about later. So we have different themes for graduates in the news, Star Wars, New York Times bestsellers. I sometimes have my storytime lists come up here. This search does a better subject search, but is a little bit harder to use for other reasons. So we'll search for Percy Jackson. Here you can see, let's see. Yeah, here you can see that sometimes it's not very obvious that the ebooks are in here. But because this is a closed system, it says it's not available, and then it'll say view selected locations. Checked out because main library is the only physical library that we have. But here in the sidebar, I find that this is a little bit easier to use. We can filter by book, and that will bring us just the physical books. Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, way down here again. I don't know why it sorts this way, but it sure does, doesn't it? This has a bit more information, but again, it really depends on when they added it. It's really up to the tech services people who add the records to add all of this detail and all of this information. So sometimes you might not have the Lexile measure or the AR reading level because it may not have existed for this book when it was added. A lot of times these catalog entries are imported using the MARC record system from the Library of Congress or from WorldCat. No, it's just because the way I could search the Lightning Thief and it would be the only entry to come up, but the way that these sort is not by any logical way. You can sort it, it's like sorting by relevance, and I don't know, because it's a computer and it's not coded by us, I don't know how it decides what is relevant and what isn't relevant. But this is what I went to library school for, to learn how to read this kind of shit. That's not true. I never attended this cataloging class. But a lot of times these things are auto-imported from the Library of Congress database, or the vendor itself will give us the MARC records. Oh, total checkouts, including renewals, 90. That's not right. It's gonna be more than that. But this catalog is a little bit easier to use. There is a children's catalog that I find harder to use, and we have a touchscreen catalog in the library that defaults to this page. I always tell patrons that it is better to use if you do not know how to read, but if you do know how to read, I recommend using the normal catalog, because this is even worse for telling if it's digital or not. It has to have the green circle only, and that will tell you that the book is here. So the red square means that it's checked out. But if we go back, let me see if I can find one where there will be digital ones. I wonder if it's filtering based on my previous filter results. That's interesting. So we haven't figured out actually how to filter this catalog yet. Here we go. So this blue arrow means that it's a downloadable book. Kids aren't always looking at this part, and because the kids who are generally using this don't know how to read, they don't know that that says downloadable. So they just see a book and they think, I want this book, but it's not actually at the library. This one is, though. And we'll talk more about how to read this information later in the actually finding the book portion. So, does anybody have any questions about that card catalog? I hate LS2. I hate all the catalogs that I've ever worked with. They're bad. Okay, so the book I want isn't there. Good news, you can place it on hold. There should be a handy button somewhere. It'll say place hold, and then you click it. You type in your library card number on the back of your library card, no spaces. Your PIN is probably going to be the last 4 digits of your phone number, your birthday and month, day, your birth year and year, or something that you set. Not every library is going to reset your PIN over the phone, but you can sure try. If you do not have your library card, have lost it, misplaced it, whatever, you're going to have to bring your photo ID up to the front desk in order to get that one sorted out. We are not going to do that one any other way. But once you place it on hold, they're not going to give you an estimate of how long it's going to take it. Yeah, a lot of libraries default is to the last 4 of your phone number. Most of the libraries I've worked in, but I have like 12 library cards, and some of them are my birthday and some of them are my birth year. But the library system that Rodney and I worked in together will let you set it, and if you don't pick something, then they just set it to the last 4 of your phone number. So every library system has a different policy, but those are the 3 most popular ones. Sally Cat, you are going to fall off of me, ma'am. Go to your chair. Please. Thank you. The cats have their own chair. She's back. I don't know what she wants. All right, come here, Beeps. She doesn't want to get back in my lap. If she comes back in my lap, I'll do it. So you can place a hold. The hold is going to be different than an ILL. If your hold is coming from out of system, it'll take longer. Oh, that's what my, I was going to have a tangent here and I forgot about it. There's the kisses for the cat. Here she is again. Wait. Hello, Beeps. Hello, Beepers. She's very needy today, apparently. She's also, like, really big, which you can't see. She's purring even though she looks absolutely furious. She's furious to be beheld. Anyways. So it could take a while for your hold to come in. Don't bother the staff. They can't tell you how long it's going to take. I don't care if it says you're number 1 on the holds list. That number fucking meaningless. It doesn't fucking matter. I hate it when other library staff are like, it could be 2 weeks. Don't tell people that shit. Just tell them, I don't know, it'll get here when it gets here. Who gives a shit? If it's been 3 weeks or more, then go and talk to the staff and be like, I think my book is coming. And then they'll be like, okay. You can tell if it's on the way, Rodney, but that's not what I'm talking about. And also, that number is meaningless, too. You could be like, well, they pulled it yesterday in Mayodan, but that doesn't mean it's going to arrive tomorrow. It could still be 2 weeks. Shit gets lost in the mail all the time. Especially library books. Don't stick your tongue out at me. I'm going to see you tomorrow. I'm going to climb a chair. I'm going to smack you. Anyways, they can't tell you how long it's going to be. I don't know why people think we can. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, exactly, Doug. Library books and grudges, very similar. This isn't the ring. This ain't no 7 days bullshit. Sometimes you get a librarian who has autism like me and knows what the path is for the courier and can say like, well, if it's pulled at Central today, the courier's already come today, so it might get here tomorrow, probably going to get here the next day. But that's just because I'm a weirdo and I know. But if it's coming from out of system, who knows how long that'll take. It has to go through the actual mail. But now we get to the book I want is checked in. So the catalog should have information on where it's located on the shelf. If you need to ask for help because you can't find it, and this happens a lot in children's because kids have hands, they go move that shit around. The main thing that library staff is going to need is the call number, which always follows the same pattern. Tangent number 3, fuck Dewey. Fuck that man. Hate that man. Kids have hands. That's right. You can read about why Dewey sucks later in a Book Riot article, but what you need to know is that Dewey can eat shit. The thing that bothers me daily is he's like, it's only white Christians. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, my dude. Shut up. So he can eat shit. I hate that man. So then tangent number 4 is, but if Dewey sucks, why do we keep using the Dewey Decimal System? It comes down to resources and time. The smallest library that I minded, which is the one Rodney, shout out to him, he got me this number. The smallest library I ever minded had 2,704 nonfiction items in the juvenile collection alone. So that means that if we were going to change it, I would have to update 2,704 items. There are Dewey alternates, yes, but at a public library, it's going to be Dewey almost every single time. Research libraries and reference libraries are going to use the Library of Congress because that is more research-based, but public libraries are almost always going to use Dewey because that's just kind of the standard. You want it to be consistent. So I can go and work at 5 different libraries, which I have. And I know that 641 is always going to be cookbooks. And I know that 567 is always going to be dinosaurs, and 599 is always going to be mammals, and 620 is always going to be tractors are going to be somewhere in, I think, 619, 620, because that's where vehicles are located. I just looked that up for a kid literally like 2 days ago, and I thought of you, which I meant to send you a message, but I didn't, Doug. I'm sorry. So he did seem a lot like you because he wanted a very specific, very, very specific tractor. And I was like, I can't help you. We don't have that specific of a book. Anyways, so we just can't change it. And especially if you think about in the consortium I worked in, there were 10 libraries in that system that were not part of the consortium. So that means that if books go from library to library, like say we have a copy of a book, but we don't need it anymore, we offer it to other libraries, it would be a lot of work for them to change it, to update it if we aren't using the Dewey Decimal System. And also patrons go from library to library. So there are patrons that used to go to the library that I used to work in that Rodney works in now. And then I see them now at the library that I work in, and they're like able to find the books on the shelves because it's still the Dewey Decimal System, which I hate, but it's fine. So if the book you want is checked in, it should have information. So here's a listing for the Mars House by Natasha Pulley. One system is going to have the collection, so new book, 3rd floor. So this is the system that I work in now. This part is the call number, shelf location or call number. So you can see they're pretty similar. They're kind of the same. FIC, Pulley Natasha, FIC, Pulley Natasha. It's usually just sort of the formatting that's going to be a little bit different. This is what I mean by like Dewey Decimal System, kind of still got to keep it around. It'll also tell you if it's checked in or it's available. This I find is pretty helpful because if you're looking for like a specific edition and you want to find a copy and all the titles are the same, you can check the last 4 of the barcode to make sure you've got the right copy. That's not really a problem for patrons, though. That's a problem for us. So how to read a call number. Most library staff should be able to find the book by the call number alone. All of the shelving information is generally going to be in the call number, but it's going to be kind of code for patrons. So like I can read that code because I look at it a lot and I update it pretty frequently. But the call number is generally going to have both caps and non-caps. So whatever is in caps is going to be the shelving information. Some libraries have all caps in the entire thing. That's just a style preference, but you can usually tell. So like J concept, that's going to be a kid's concept book, usually ABCs, counting, shapes, colors. E-fic, that's going to be a picture book. E for easy, fic for fiction. If you find one and you cannot make heads or tails of the call number, ask a librarian. Who's ever on the reference desk is there to help, even if they don't look like it, which brings us to tangent number 5. Some of them are unapproachable. It's fine. I'm not their boss. But I can guarantee you that you can find someone in that building who is like me. And patrons will come and find me and they'll be like, excuse me, can you help me find a book? And I'm literally like walking by with a whole bunch of shit in my hands. And I'm just like, yeah, buddy, no problem. Because I know that the patron looked at the people at the desk and were like, ugh, that person looks like if I interrupt them, they're going to be mad. But if I'm too busy, I'm going to go and interrupt the desk staff because that's what their fucking job is. And I don't give a shit. They're going to be interrupting me, everything I'm doing. So they're going to get interrupted when they're supposed to be doing it. And again, library staff are going to be on the front desk, reference desk. There should be somebody on the desk at all times. If you cannot find somebody, they're supposed to be there. Go find them. And if they look mad that you interrupted them, I don't give a fuck. People do yell. Don't snap. I hate it when people snap at me. Like don't snap at me. I'm not a dog. You can just come and talk to me like a person. Because I am mostly a person. I'm humanoid. So if the book you want isn't even in the catalog, there are still options. You can do a purchase request. All libraries take purchase requests and definitely want them. So in children's alone, I order 200 books each month. So having patron requests is super helpful. I might not be able to get it though. Sometimes I can't get a self-published book. Sometimes the book is no longer in print. I'm going to do my best though. A lot of times if we can't get it in our traditional means, I got fucking money at this library, Hawk. I'm at a city library that is a closed system that has really good funding. So we get a lot. I did not used to be able to get 200 books a month. It's crazy to me. I'm still baffled that every month when I do the order, the thing that I cannot get a book, the reason is because it's not in stock, not because I don't have enough money. Um, but if they aren't able to get the book for you, you can try ILL. So this is interlibrary loan that Mo was asking me about earlier. You're going to have to talk to library staff about what the ILL procedures are because they are always slightly different. The thing to check to see if you can even get it through ILL is to see if they have it in worldcat.org. That's where we're going to start. Now, there's going to be a couple of things where, like, libraries are maybe not going to try and get you one that you have to pay for if you're at a public library because we want our services to be free. Some libraries need a fee, but and yeah, Hawk, not everybody will ILL out or in media. So the system that Rodney and I worked in will not ILL anything other than books. And so it really is up to the library on what they will send and what they will receive. So it can be real hit or miss. The best thing to do is to start in WorldCat and see if it's an option. It might not be though. And that's just kind of the way it shakes out sometimes. You can also check the digital library. Libraries will have different digital options, Libby, Hoopla, BorrowBox. You can check their website or you can ask a library staff member. It's usually going to be on the website somewhere, which ones they have access to. If you ever need help with Libby, I can help you with Libby, even if I don't work at your library system because it's kind of universal. I don't know shit about Hoopla or BorrowBox though. Does anybody have any questions about any of these ones, like purchase request or ILL? Both of these you are going to have to talk to a librarian. I don't know what to tell you about that one. I love Libby. I have so many library cards in Libby. Okay, so if you just want any book, that was when we were looking at specific books, like if you're looking for a very specific book. But if you just want any book, ask a librarian. Just, that's what they're there for. What if I said something different this time? That would be really funny. Hoopla is easy, except I have 12 library cards in Libby, and I can't have 12 library cards in Hoopla. It's kind of the main thing. Other resources. Library displays. There's going to be physical displays, catalog carousels, and digital carousels. So the catalog carousel on the library system I work in now, that's one way that you can check out books, like get just any book that if you want it today. Digital carousels, those are going to be ones in Libby. Different libraries have different ways that they set up the Libby carousels to recommend it. Sometimes it'll be a staff recommendation. Sometimes it'll be a list that's populated by Libby themselves. You can check Novelist Plus. It's probably an online resource. Carousel is just when the items move across the screen. It's a carousel. It's just what the website term is calling it. So like when you have a row of things and they move, the HTML CSS name for that is carousel. They suck ass to code, I'll tell you that much. Novelist Plus is probably an online resource that your library pays for. I really like Novelist Plus. I'm not going to talk about it too much here because it's not necessarily related to the library, but Gemma and I did meet the Novelist Plus people at the library conference. They were super nice. You can also just kind of look around on the shelves, check the reshelving carts. Sometimes there will be carts where people set books that they were looking at and decided not to get. New books locations. So if you find a book that has a sort of green banner or an orange banner at the bottom, that's going to be a brand new book. Those are called McNaughtons. They're rentals. And then genre stickers. Somebody in the thread for this chat talked about genre stickers at their library. Most genre stickers come from Demco, which is a company that makes them. And then you can also check on Storygraph. Storygraph actually has decent read-alikes because it's not owned by Papa Bezos. Fuck Goodreads. Anyways, tangent number 6. This one is more of a rant. I wish that Demco would stop discontinuing my fucking genre stickers. I'm tired of this shit. Because every time they redesign it, they make it look completely different. So then I have to either decide to try and scrounge for some new stickers or replace all the fucking stickers because otherwise they don't look like they go in the same set. So like I had to redo the entire Easy Reader collection because I had black stickers and then they changed it to fucking red. You're welcome, Rodney. I did all that shit for you. I did all that shit And then Rodney doesn't even have to deal with any of it because I did it first. Me and Gemma both. And so I just wish Demco would stop fucking discontinuing my stickers, or at least make them the same color so that it's not as obvious from a distance. Because that's a good way that you can tell if the book is out of place, because it doesn't have the right fucking sticker. But if all the stickers are different, don't you remove my genre sticker. I don't give a shit anymore, actually. You can't have two different color stickers, Doug. Because what if there's a book that has a similar color sticker and it belongs in a different section? It's on that shelf. I can't tell at a glance when I'm walking by. If I know that all the stickers on that shelf is supposed to be red and I see a black one, I go, that's not where that goes. But if I have two different color stickers, I can't tell as easily as I walk by. And I go, all those books like they're in the right spot. That's not true. I work in children's. Kids move shit. I need to be able to find it fast as I'm just walking by doing something else. Anyways, tangent number 7, don't put it away. I don't care if you know exactly where you got that book from. Don't put it back. Don't do it. We have a whole system. We have a whole process. We take it. We check it in. Sometimes we find out that it's missing. I had a kid one time, so this is a true story. I had gotten some books from the consortium system for story time. I usually would get 10 books that follow a theme, and then patrons could check them out after. But one of those books just whole ass walked off. I don't know where it went. Took me 3 months. I could never find it. We looked in all the places it should have been. We looked in all the places it shouldn't have been. Could not, for the life of us, find it. I found that book in one of the return baskets at the library. A kid had found the book in the wrong spot, read it, didn't want to take it home, put it in the return basket, found that missing book, was able to send it back to the library it came from, which is great. This is for when you're browsing and decide not to get it. If the book is checked out on your account, even if you haven't left the library yet, put it in the book drop anyways. This is one of those things where, like, if you're worried about having to cancel a hold and it's already here, go pick up the hold, check it out, return it to the inbox or the drop box on your way out. They're not going to judge you. We're just going to be like, well, that's weird. And then check it in and then put it away. It doesn't matter. We're going to boost those numbies and you don't have to have an awkward interaction with the staff. We don't give a shit if you cancel the hold. I don't care. But especially if it came from another system and it didn't come from within your library, it's easier for you to just check it out and then check it right back in. And then we don't have to deal with trying to cancel it in the system, because sometimes that can be a little difficult depending on what status it's in. So if you want a recommendation, ask a librarian. I know it's a shocker that I said it this time. That's it. That's all I got. If you want a recommendation, ask a librarian. Miscellaneous library tangents. As you can imagine, I was making this at work, so I had a lot of tangents. The teens aren't going to hurt you. They're not scary. They're at a library. Even if they're breaking the rules, that's not your business. It's not your business. The teens aren't going to hurt you. Leave them alone. If you start treating the teenagers like they are suspect the minute they start getting there, they are not going to lose anything by getting in trouble, and then they're going to be worse. Rodney, I see you typing. You don't have shit all to say because you weren't having to break up fights like I was, because you're different. I'm not going to talk about your shoes. Tangent number 9, read what you want. We're not judging you. We saw it when we got it added. Don't worry. Some of us selected it. Rodney does have amazing shoes, Mo, but he has a pair that is immeasurably ugly. If you want to read YA, read YA. If you want to read juvenile, read juvenile. Who gives a fuck? We literally don't get paid enough to care. So I don't care. You want to read a picture book? Like, read a board book, read a picture book? I don't give a shit. I'm tired. Just ask. Your question cannot possibly be worse than a question I've already been asked. If you're worried, that's more than I can say for some of the questions people ask me. You're not a bat or a snake, so I'm super thrilled. I had some teenagers ask me about, like, women's body hair situation. So, you ain't gonna top that, whatever your question is. No, because I work with kids, so I don't think they're crazy. I just think they're normal. Had like a 15-minute discussion about who wears underpants or who wears diapers, and that's just like my normal day. Had a very in-depth conversation about whether moles have eyes. They do. We Googled it. Any questions? This is the end of my presentation. Yeah, but Doug, I still answered all your questions, even if you were trying to do bits. I was just like, yeah, you can do it. Moles do have eyes.
Tell your husband I said hi, Hawk. I'm glad you guys have fun. Oh, if your book is overdue, just bring it back. If your book was lost, just bring it back. We ain't worried about it. Most libraries don't actually have overdue fees anymore. And honestly, depending on which library staff you get, we're going to be like, fucking hate library fees. And then we'll find a way to not charge you library fees. I don't give a fuck about overdue fees. So, I made a joke with the circulation desk manager about how, like, there are some things that I override that she 100% would be annoyed about to learn that I had done. And I said, I'm just not going to tell you, Shelly. And she said, I'll just feel a stab in my heart on a Saturday when you break a rule. And I was like, yeah, probably. And that Saturday, I think I overrode something. And I just was like, just don't tell anybody I did this. There's always at least 2 librarians in the building that are like, yeah, just don't tell anybody I did this favor for you. But yeah, if your book is overdue, just bring it back. Technical Trek manuals are going to probably be in with the rest of the film books, which I think are in 796. I think they're considered part of the film oeuvre. Those giant Star Wars books are also in the 796s. If items get missed when if you check in an item and it doesn't get checked in correctly, that happens all the time. The computers are just way slower than we are. You can if you notice that, you can call and we'll go look for it. I literally just did this yesterday. And I just went and found it and we checked it in. If you've been charged an overdue fee, we'll backdate it because we definitely had it and that's on us. I did not see the John Oliver show on libraries because I don't really watch TV. I have not had to deal with any crazy book banners, even though I do live in the sort of southeastern United States. But that's because I am in a pretty well-funded, well-supported system. So if we did have to deal with any crazy book banners, they would be shut down almost immediately by our library director. But the library system that I worked in right before was much more conservative, and they just let their children's librarian go, who replaced me. So not Rodney, he's fine. That was the system before that. The funky scanners that check out books all stacked up, those are RFID pads. I don't have any feelings about them except for the fact that ours are fucking slow as shit. So it never actually turns off the security because people don't leave it on there long enough. Drives me crazy. Just make sure you leave it on there long enough. Like, it's fine. RFID pads, yeah, we have RFID pads. I was at the library Rodney's in when we got the RFID system, so I know how to troubleshoot a lot of it, so it doesn't really bother me too much. The vendor for that company is called Biblioteca, and he kept trying to tell me that I was going to take his job when he retired, and I was like, oh, that sounds boring. So I didn't do that. Basically, my interactions with a lot of the tech-based vendors are like, they're going to try and steal me from the libraries, and I'm like, yeah, I like being in children's too much. Yeah, I'm definitely a tech fae. I mean, I'm not a fae, but if I was, I would be a tech fae. I've been to the local library conference, the NCLA, North Carolina Library Association one. But I haven't been to any of the ALA conferences because I have never had sufficient coverage for staff, and I don't get paid enough to travel. No, Doug, we don't have a sticker printer. We don't have a makerspace at our library. Although, Hawk, I do work in a system where I might be able to go to ALA in the future, depending on sort of if we budget for it or something, or if I probably ask. If the big one downtown has a sticker maker, Doug, they probably have a maker space. We don't. We might have a sticker maker that what if the thing you want to find in the library is a program or event? You can check the website. A lot of times library departments are going to have a stand of flyers right at the front.
that'll have information about all the upcoming ones. Um, and if you can't find it, you can just go to the front desk and ask. If the front desk that you ask does not have that program happening, they will tell you where to go to ask about it. You can also call us. If you do call us and you want to know if we're open, like on a holiday or something, uh, um, please call and ask what our hours are. I'm always thrown off when people ask if we're open. I answered the phone, so I'm here. I'm not answering it from home. So it always like just throws me off for a minute. So if you want to know if the library is open, ask what the hours are because it confuses us a little less. Um, Kodos, I don't really have a lot of thoughts on the digital versus hard copy issue because I work in children's. So I don't really worry too much about digital books because most kids do not read digitally. Um, Bacon, I don't know what the weirdest manual or power tool rental we have, because it wouldn't be in children's. Doug, we also have a zoo membership you can check out. You can get free tickets to the zoo. That's how Rodney, Gemma, and my brother and I went. You can get free tickets to the zoo. There's 3 local children's museums that we've gotten free tickets to. Baseball games. One of the parks and Parks and Rec has like a merry-go-round and a train that you can ride that you can get free tickets from us for. A couple of baseball guys. But yeah, you can get a lot of stuff. We call it borrow an experience at my library. Um, yeah, there's a train. I don't know anything about it. The weirdest thing I have to check out at my library. Um, I I mean, again, I work in children's, so like we have like a telescope you can borrow. It's pretty cool. The High Point. It's in High Point. We have like kits that have a bunch of stuff in them, so you can get like you can borrow a microscope, you can borrow a telescope. Yeah, North Carolina. I hate the kits because they have a million pieces in them. Yes, Hawk, we do have the book Everybody Poops. We also are going to be getting soon a book called Not He or She, I'm Me. So I'm very excited to push the queer agenda onto today's youth. I did say to a kid, the giant chest of drawers is 1 block down, 2 blocks over. One. Is my brother still in here? No, he's gone. He would remember. 1 block down, 2 blocks over, I think. I gave a kid a bunch of sort of like gender exploration books, the Witch Boy series by Molly Ostertag, and I was talking to I was talking to his mom about a local comic shop, and I was like, I didn't always feel super welcome in that comic shop. And then I kind of like looked at the kid and I was like, because I definitely look a very specific sort of way, don't I? Yeah, I'm not surprised it's not just a mini train, Doug. City Lake Park. I'm not too worried about telling you guys which library I work in because I was literally on the local news. And also my face is everywhere. Uh era Hawk, it was not LGBT friendly because it was one old ass man near a university. So you almost got me and then I caught myself. Nice try. I have your name already. Doug, that would be so confusing if I didn't do it correctly in the watchback. Yeah, Hawk, I literally have your real I have your real name and address. Y'all better watch out. A lot of you, I have your real names and addresses. I have Rodney's location. I can see that he's typing. Yeah, that's the thing. I always make sure I put my return address, um, so that when I do have your addresses, you also have mine. It feels even. It would be unfair. Um, Rodney, you know that if a Karen comes in, you cannot throw hands if they're causing problems. I can be politely scathing, though. I'm very good at being politely scathing. The trick is to do a sort of like, um, so sorry.
Was there anything that I could help you with today? Or that lady that always calls to talk about how her sister was murdered and how her landlord's trying to kill her. She never wanted to talk to me or Gemma because we would be like, right, so did you have a question? Or she would always be like, is Carl there? And I would look Carl dead in the eyes and I would say, no, Carl's not here today. Would you like me to leave a message? She wouldn't leave a message. Oh, Hawk, I have a story about a service dog. We had a lady who had it was wearing a vest, but it wasn't a service dog, and it bit one of my teen volunteers, and that's how my library system is no longer allowed to do read to a dog. Oh, Doug, Gemma one time was helping a patron with his computer and his photos, and he didn't realize that his photos on his phone synced with his Google, and so she did see his dick. She did see the photos he took of his dick. Oh yeah, also the other thing is if you are rude to us, we will not help you. We'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, but that's the rules." But if you're nice to us, we'll be like, "Yeah, we'll be so helpful." Um and if you get an ILL and it is different than the hold system, so make sure that you ask at the front, you say like, "Oh, I have an ILL to pick up." Not I have a hold to pick up because those are two different types of things and they might be handled differently in your system. Because ILLs come from outside of the consortium, so they have to be added separate. Oh yeah, like I had a patron come in and they had PZ, it was the perfect time for you to come back. You could say you have to pick up the illest book, and I'm gonna tell Carl that you made that joke because he fucking made that joke all the time. Um, it made me so mad. Yeah, too long didn't read, don't be a cunt. If you're a cunt to me, I'll be a cunt back is the problem. Uh I had a patron come in, and the limit on our cards is 50 items you can have checked out, and they had 4 cards that were connected, so one of them had reached 50, so all the rest of them were shut down. But the rest of them didn't have anything checked out. So what I did is I just bopped one of the books to one of the other cards, and it was totally fine. If that man had been an asshole to me about it, I would not have done that. That's the thing. You gonna be petty to me? Bitch, I don't make enough money for that. I don't give a shit. I'll break the rules unless you're rude, and then I won't break the rules. And then you can't even be mad because I was following the rules. What are you gonna do? Report me? Bitch, try. Jinx, you guys both said malicious compliance at the same time. I love it when people try and pick fights with me about programs and I just look at them like really confused and really scared and I'm just like, oh, I don't know who does that program. I'm sorry. Oh, their name isn't on the, oh, the information isn't on the flyer. Well, you're welcome to come. That's funny. Some lady I don't like tried to ask me about a program that was definitely not a children's program. And then it turns out she had actually gotten the information outside. She just didn't like that information. So she came in to try again. And I just told her I didn't know what she was talking about. So she got no information from me. People love to try and test me because I'm little and I'm cute. Joke's on them. I'm a bitch. Time of it. Oh, nice. We got like 5 minutes left. I thought it would be, I mean, the presentation was pretty short. You guys have a lot of questions though, which is great. This is my literally my job. Luckily for us, Hawk, our like flyer thing is in a locked case, so they can't hang things up without us doing it, which is great. But if you want to hang a flyer to advertise an event, it has to be a free event generally. Anything that the library promotes generally has to be free. And then you can bring it to the front desk and they will bring it to the powers that be for approval. The expectation is that libraries offer free services.
So if we are going to be promoting an event, the expectation is that it should also be free, because we don't want to confuse people and make it seem as though you'd have to pay for library programs and services. You don't, you already do. Taxes, baby. Oh my God, Rodney, I haven't folded my laundry either. You know how to use the catalog, bitch. You're a librarian. Shut up. Oh, Cleveland's here. Right in the last minute. I gotta wait until he gets up here, though. We don't have any of the cake pans, well, but that's because the experiences and kits are geared towards children. Um, and I'm working on it. Hawk, the cat's gotta. Oh, here he is. He's waiting patiently for me to pick him up. Come here, buddy. Wait. God, you're heavy. Oh, here's Cleveland. Here he is, my son. This is the only way you can hold him because of his leggy. Tip forward. Hi, buddy. Here he is. Try hitting escape Vulp to get out of full screen. Or click on it twice. Cleveland is a little bit more easy to manhandle into the camera because he doesn't internalize any of this. We don't have Lego Technics, Bacon, but we do have a Lego wall. So you can borrow Legos while you're in the library and you can play with them on our Lego wall. We have 3 sets of Legos and 3 sets of Duplos. He wants down. He does not like to be kissed. Making your weird sounds. He heard me talking. I'm surprised it took him this long to come. Oh, buddy, that's a big ol' knot. You're gonna have to take care of that later. Hello, my son. He's really confused. I don't usually hold him up like this for that long. My cats only allow holds because they know that when they're done, I'll set them down, and he's about to be done, so I'm about to set him down. There you go, Bubby. They have a chair right here. Let me see if I can. They have a chair. That's the chair for the cats to sit on. I'm wearing my summer reading t-shirt. It's almost summer reading time, bitches. You can also check to see if your library has a summer reading program for adults. Some libraries do. I got a cup from one that I worked at. The theme this year is adventure. This is last year's shirt. An upcoming theme is dinosaurs, though. I don't remember which one, but I think 2027 is dinosaurs. Last year's was stupid, though. It's this one. It's the all together now. How do you decorate all together now? What the fuck does that mean? But anyways. All right, my friends. We're going to end it here. Stop streaming because I gotta go. Oh, you know what? I had a funny slide. I totally forgot. Look. Haha. Questions? Ask a librarian. I forgot that was in there. Cool. I had another idea for another one. I don't remember what it was, but I'll do it. I'll do it later. So, the end.